at this short time. I know we didn't give much of a notice, but with the season starting, we just need to iron out a few points. So just thank you, and we will crack on and get this done so everyone can get back to some family life.
Right, so to get things started, as you can hopefully see on screen, any questions we will go through at the end, but you've got myself and Karen taking you through the initial stuff this evening. So we're going to go through some impacts and some guidance we're going to issue regarding COVID and what this is going to do match-wise. Go over some basic admin and comms stuff. Just remind you of some of the rule changes that have taken place for this season. And finally, we'll go through any questions. So to start, hopefully every club has got either a risk assessment or some form of policy in place for their home matches and their facilities that they are using. Ideally, if you're the home club, you need to be sharing this with the away club so they are aware of what is to be expected when they're visiting your ground or your facility. Hopefully you've all read the FA's guidance, and they would like everyone to conduct a briefing before kickoff. So this briefing needs to ensure that you are speaking to the players, spectators, match officials, and any other club officials that are there on site at the time. We've been doing this at the cup finals that we recently held. We've been doing these in front of the spectators on the halfway line so everybody can hear and everyone can understand what's going on. So hopefully that's pretty clear on what's expected. We've had queries regarding team sheets and any paperwork. The guidance we've received from the FA is that these can be exchanged as normal. So you can fill out your paper team sheets that Darren has kindly issued to you all. If you don't want to take a piece of paper, feel free to take a photo of it and exchange it via WhatsApp or email. But please also bear in mind that with any referees that are under the age of 18, they won't be sharing their personal details with you. So please, in that instance, look to exchange via paper. The other query we've had is regarding match fees for referees that are appointed or you are paying a referee of your own. Ideally, these should be cashless. So make sure you're getting this information in advance and it's ready to be paid after the game. Finally, on this sort of stuff, obviously this is all pretty new for everyone. So please just take your time, be patient, and be mindful of other people's opinions and what they're respecting as well. Karen's issued an email earlier today. We thoroughly understand that some clubs will have difficulties with their venues prior to the start of the season. They also may have venue-specific rules, and these aren't always going to be set by the club. If you're at a school site or if you're at a private facility, they may well be setting rules. So please respect them and please follow what they are asking you to do. We've put some guidance together for today, and we've asked that any games played in September can be played at a mutually agreeable time, including midweeks. So games can be brought forward from later on in the season if you want to play them earlier. If you want to play a Sunday game on a midweek and bring it forward, please feel free to do so. For October, we're also thinking that you can do this as well. Obviously, providing floodlights are available and that you've got the time to fit these in. We've also got half-term week in October, so providing both teams agree, you can move fixtures into that week as well. As always, you know your divisional secretaries. If you don't, the details are on our website of who they are. So please ensure that you're in touch with them so they can make sure all the information is correct and up to date on full time. And lastly, you cannot play a match without access to a toilet. So please bear that in mind. If you can't do it, please tell us so we can try and work something out, or we'll look to work this out with Norfolk FA and your other venues. I will now pass you on to Karen for some admin and comms stuff.
Okay, so I'll be like crack record now because we say this every year. So you must fill in your match cards on full time, and it must be completed by midnight on Wednesdays. So we don't like having to chase you, we don't like having to charge you, we don't like having to fine you. So the easiest thing is you are going to have to fill the match card in come what may. So why get a fine for doing it late? You might as well just do it on time, because you will have to do it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. So please fill in your match cards. All teams get one postponement to use throughout the season. There's a slight caveat on that if you are playing development football, because I know we've got some people on tonight who might be doing that. So yours will be slightly different in that you'll have development games prior to Christmas, where if you don't play them, the game will be awarded. This will impact you on what group you get put into for competitive fixtures after Christmas, but then you can use a one postponement after Christmas. So as long as everyone's clear on that, there are, just because of things we've had this week, there are some valid reasons for postponements, but please look at the rules, and you do have to give us 7 days notice. And for any of those reasons where you think it's valid for postponements, you do have to provide evidence, and we have to have that evidence 7 days prior. So just so everybody's clear on that one. The fixture calendars that we put together have been posted on full time for guidance. They are for guidance. We're adhering to them as much as we can, because we like to put them in place as this is when we're planning to schedule fixtures. As with everything in football, they can be subject to change because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with what the government say. We don't know what's going to happen with what the FA might say. We don't know what the weather's going to do. So there's so many unknowns, but they are a rough guide to the intentions and our aims on what we're going to do about fixtures. If you're in one of the Premiership divisions where you have appointed referees, you need to ensure that you have kick-off time set on full time on the Saturday prior to when your game is. I've sent out something to clubs to say if you wish to set a default kick-off, certainly if you could do it in the mornings, that would be very helpful with referee appointments. Then that is easier, because then the whole season's sorted for you. But if not, it is a rule change this season that it has to be on there the Saturday before. Do you want to move on? Right. Okay, so now we're getting into the rules and governance stuff. If you receive a charge, and this should go to your club secretary, can you please read the instructions carefully and respond using the method which is set out in the email? Because a lot of people have not responded to charges in the right way, and you will be issued with a charge just because it says on there what the sanction might be. All the charges are up to. If you want to put in mitigation, there is a process for you to do so. So just because you get a charge doesn't mean that you're automatically going to receive the sanction that is mentioned in a charge. That's just the process that is followed. So we just want everybody to be clear on that, because we get a lot of to-ing and fro-ing between clubs when that happens. Can we also ask you to follow the FA's rules regarding social media postings? That's particularly important for any under-11s coaches who are on here, because you are still development football, so no scores, please. For any managers and club secretaries who are on this call, we have a lot of guides on our website for full-time, match day and whole game. There is also a helpful little question bit that you can go into, which will tell you who to contact depending on what your issue is. And we've issued that link to all club secretaries several times, so that should be with clubs where you can have that link and you can go on there as to see who you should contact depending on what your issue is. And player registrations are completed by Norfolk FA, not by ourselves. So if you've got any questions on player registrations, then to a certain extent you probably need to discuss them with Norfolk FA first, or contact support at Norfolk FA email, because they can answer the questions better than we can, and we will probably direct you to them depending on what the issue is. So transfers and deregistrations are allowed from the 1st of October. This is another change from the rules. We've brought that forward from the 1st of October, And you can do a notice of approach 7 days prior to that, which is the 23rd of September. That's just so everyone's clear on it, because we are getting a few requests where people have changed their mind about the team that they want to play for, and it can't take place until the 1st of October unless there are exceptional circumstances, and we've not really had any exceptional circumstances yet. It's all been people who've changed their mind. So Chris, over to you.
Yeah, so just some comm stuff. If you search your mobile app store for the NCYFL Pitch Finder app, you can, like we've done in the previous seasons, you can find any pitch on there and it'll get you to the front gate rather than the middle of nowhere, we shall say. We're fully compliant and ready for match day, so you can submit everything you need to do through match day. That's not a problem. Please ignore my smoke alarm. Our social media channels, you can find us at Norfolk CYFL for everything there. Our league committee contacts are also available at the league website, which is ncyfl.co.uk, and all your club contacts are all available at the same place. Hopefully you've all visited there before, so you shouldn't need telling. So I'll just move on to the next slide, which is on the rule changes.
Okay, I'm doing those, aren't I? We'll get. I see there's a few questions in the chat. We'll come on to them in a minute. So real changes that have gone through this season is that your shirts must be uniquely numbered. Probably doesn't apply to people on this call, but the under 10s are now using size 3 balls instead of size 4. All your player registrations must be completed on the whole game system. And just a reminder that if you're playing this weekend, you need to get your player registrations done as ASAP, please. Where a player has a match day registration that is not entered on whole game prior to kick-off, a Norfolk FA Youth offline consent form must be fully completed, signed by the player and countersigned by an officer of the club. Okay, so that's a requirement for match days. The form must be also countersigned by an officer of the opposing club. Details of the player registration must then be entered on whole game by midnight on the day of the match. The player can't play a game on a subsequent match day until they are registered and approved on the whole game system. So it's quite important for you to make sure that that happens. Next slide. Can you also ensure that if you are participating in the cup or any trophy events, that you read the rules? The league rules and any cup and trophy event rules are on our website, but we've found from our experience, particularly with the last lot of cup finals, that people are not reading them. So they are quite clear, so at least look at them at some point in the season, preferably now, so that you understand what the rules mean. Okay, if you're in an under 11s team, you need to be really clear about these cup rules, because your player will be cup tied as soon as they play a match after Christmas, because they're competitive fixtures. So although transfers are allowable, if a player transfers having played for one team, they won't be able to play for another team because all the competitive fixtures are a league cup event. So we just wanted everyone to be clear on that. Just a reminder here, ensure you have your minimum player numbers registered on whole game before your first game. And the other one was what we've already mentioned, is the transfer date has been brought forward from the 1st of October from the 1st of November.
And that's it.
Yes. So
if anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the chat.
Chris.
Okay. So the first one I've seen is, can we have a copy of the pre-match briefing regarding COVID? So your pre-match briefing needs to be specific to your venue and specific to your club. The FA have got a guidance. As part of the FA's guidance, there is a what they think should be included in. You can find that in the Return to Football guidance issued by the FA.
But each venue might have specific requirements that you need to go over with the spectators or with the people who are turning up for the game, so they can't be generic.
So Michael Richardson and Mark Sykes, yes, the presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded on our website either tonight or tomorrow morning. Amber, some of my players have been registered onto whole game but are still not appearing up. As far as I'm aware, Tom Constance from Norfolk FA informed us earlier that they are now up to date on player registrations on whole game. Players may not yet be appearing in full time and match day. There is not an instant. It's not an instant synchronise at the moment, so there may be a few hours delay in between what is happening.
I don't know. Is Matt on here? Whether you could unmute him, Matt. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
No, I was just checking the list actually, Karen, to see where we're at. So it's taken a while to load, as a lot of people probably know.
Oh, right. Okay, we'll come back to you then.
System performance hasn't been great these last few days, has it? So
no.
I will double check, and if it's anything different to what Chris said, I will let you know.
And to answer to Si, it's throw-ins, but you do need to keep sanitising your footballs.
Yep. To East Coast, there will be some specific stuff for development football on Monday. Obviously, it's going to be recorded. So it's entirely up to you whether you attend again. It's not mandatory at all. Gavin Welch, if a group of players from a team have to self-isolate and the team is unable to play a fixture and have already used their postponement, what would happen? So Gavin, you'll need to complete the postponement and cancellation request form. Once you've completed the postponement and request cancellation form, it will come to the committee and we will be in touch with you.
Yeah, and I would say provide as much evidence of why they have to self-isolate and any track or trace evidence as possible so that we can make informed decisions.
Yeah, Greg Twiddy, under 18s, the maximum squad number is 25. You can take 16 to a match and you can use them all. It's roll-on, roll-off subs. Jamie Norton, exceptional circumstances or whatever you think they are. If you want to submit mitigation for an exceptional circumstance, please do so as part of a transfer. That can go to James Harris and that can be discussed.
So by the very nature of it being exceptional, though, it has to be something that is not a normal circumstance.
Yeah. Carl, players from a club that have folded, are they automatically deregistered from the folding team? Once we receive a folded team report, that goes into Norfolk FA and they will detach the players and they will be available to be registered by other clubs.
Chris, have you missed the one from Mike Sayers about the two teams at the same age group?
He may have sent that specifically to you because I can't see that one.
Oh, right, okay. Do you want me to do it? It says when we have two teams at the same age group, do they need to be registered to both teams to be able to play for both? I know they can only play in the cup for one team. That you can only play across in development football, and that's only for games that are not competitive. So you don't have to register them for the teams where you're playing them across pre-Christmas for 11s, 10s, 9s. After Christmas, not at all.
Yep. So the next one we've got is from Tom Halliwell. You said it may not be possible to appoint refs for all under 14 Premier League games. When will we know if we need to find our own referee?
Matt might be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to come in on that?
Well, I suppose the answer will be that the objective is that David will be doing the appointments the week before the scheduled games of play, so he will do them on the Sunday, hence the reason we want the kick-off time set by that morning so he can do them on the Sunday afternoon. So if you don't have a referee from that first wave through, so by the Monday in essence, the chances are you probably won't get one.
So if we said roughly Monday 5 p.m, if you haven't got a referee by then, you're probably not going to get one.
Yeah, and what I would also imagine, I would imagine most weeks will be reasonably consistent in terms of the numbers that we have. So we will know relatively early in the season whether we will have enough to cover the 14s as well or not. We will do our best to cover them, but obviously, as Karen was saying, there's certainly unknowns at the moment.
Right, we understand that.
You know, we will do our best. But certainly, if you haven't got one by 5 o'clock on the Monday, there's every chance you won't be getting one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gordon Harvey, pre-match briefing. Do we have to do that if we've already sent protocols to the away team? Yes, you should. You can socially distance on a halfway line, and you can definitely socially distance away from spectators. And Daryl Spencer, do we have to stagger kickoff times if we have more than one game kicking off at the same time at the same venue? No, you do not. Under 18 referee fees are split fees. Please explain, as I am used to paying officials at the home team. So referee fees are split for appointed match officials by Norfolk FA. So you literally pay half the total cost of that fee on the day. So if the referee says his cost for that day is going to be £35, including expenses, both teams will pay him £17.50.
Okay, I've got a couple that have just come to me, Chris.
Okay, yeah, carry on.
So I've got one from Chris Aldridge, and I'm going to bring Matt in on this one. It says, adult football are allowing match day registrations to be agreed by the opposition by text or email rather than a paper form. Will NCYFL allow this as well? So Matt, I think that's a question for you. Are you happy with that as a process or not? Because
yeah, the issue is obviously one of exchanging pieces of paper. So there is a slight risk. So I would suggest, if possible, you avoid doing that. The ultimate thing on a match day registration, don't forget, is that you as a club need to have evidence that you signed that player before the game. And to a certain extent, that can take more or less whatever form you think is appropriate. So, for example, you might just want to get an email from the opposition manager, a text from the opposition manager to say, yes, I confirm that you've agreed that Karen Ward will be signing before the game or whatever, so that if anybody ever challenges it, because that player obviously won't be on the team sheet initially, then you can say, well, no, here's the evidence that registration took place before the game. So a photo exchange of the registration form is another way of doing it. Ultimately, if you want to do the paper form, you can, but we would take anything really that constitutes clear evidence that it was done prior to kick-off. That's the point of the paper form, because remember, you don't send that to us anyway. That's only there as backup evidence if ever you need to prove that registration actually took place prior to the kickoff. A timestamp photo, for example, would be another way of doing it.
Okay.
I've got another one from Mike Sayers. I think that's a follow-up on where players are playing across. There is a comment box, Mike, that if anyone has played across, you need to put the players that don't come up on the listing into the comments box so we know that they've played.
Yep, spot on. Carl, his question is, we check our players' temperature prior to training and matches. If they have a high temperature, they cannot participate. Is this acceptable to ask the opposition to do so on match days?
I can answer that.
Go on, Darren.
I believe if that's in their COVID policy, that's their COVID policy. But it's got to be written in their COVID policy.
Okay. Matt, anything from a county perspective? Because not one I've come across yet pre-season.
No, that's not one I've come across either. I mean, it's a good.
I have.
I think it's. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to ask to do.
No. We had it at Kings Lynn last night, man.
Did you? What, in the elite game? Yeah.
Every single person was being zapped.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at that level because they still can't even have spectators. So
No.
I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to do. It's one I might just take away and just get some additional guidance from the FA potentially. But on the face of it, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't do that.
But that's got to be written in their policy, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect it to be standard practice for every club, for sure.
No.
I mean, ultimately, the responsibility lies with each club to self-assess their own players. So it's not a requirement of the guidelines, but whether a club can do it if they want to do it, I can't think why not. I'll take that away and ask the question and come back.
Okay, Sean Ivers, what are the chances of getting an appointed referee for non-Premier League matches? Slim to none. Yeah, it will be slim to none. I think that's the only answer I can give. We do try our best to ensure we've definitely got appointed referees for under 15s Prem, 16s Prem, 18s Championship and 18s Premiership. But that is it at the moment. And Mark Bird, yes, the referee equalisation scheme will be run again. And that information will be sent out before Sunday.
Just remember, to everyone who does it, if you don't fill the form in, and then don't expect at the end of the season to be paid for the games that you haven't filled that form in. Okay.
Chris, just to jump back in on that Sean Ivers question as well, you're absolutely right, or he's absolutely right as well. I suppose the chances are slim to none. But it can be arranged if there are particular needs as to why that might happen. It's worth contacting the league if there is a particular fixture where you feel you need a referee. you can put your case into Karen or Darren or your divisional secretary, and it potentially could happen if the circumstances warrant it. It would be unusual for that to be the case. It certainly won't be every week. But if there is a particular fixture where there's been, for example, maybe problems in the past where there's value in having a referee, you can make that request. And then potentially the league can make a judgment call on whether that game then gets a referee appointed to it or not. But that certainly would be the odd occasion, not the norm.
Yeah, and please note on that, that if we had to do that, it could mean that we would have to take a referee away from one of the Premiership teams that normally get a referee appointed. So just so everyone's clear on that, because there is a finite number of referees.
Yeah.
After the refs, of course, the more refs you'll have.
Yes, if you could recruit some, that'd be great.
So the next one we've got is from Dwayne James. What is the latest opponents can give a team for match day details?
Monday night.
I believe it's Monday evening. Yep.
It's in the rules. If you read the rules, it's Monday night. And if you've not heard from them, let your divisional secretary know, because everyone should be telling everyone else by that time.
One more from Carl. Are referees appointed to cup games involving Premier League teams? Usually, yes.
But not always. It'll depend on the number of refs.
Yeah, they do try their best. There's one here from someone who's not got their name given. Is there any grants available from the FA for disadvantaged children who cannot afford fees / kit charges, etc.? That's one for Norfolk FA, unfortunately not one for us as a league.
I'm not aware of any specific grants that would cover that situation. It's probably one you might have more luck with from sort of local authorities and other organisations outside of football who may be able to support activities for young people. I would be fairly confident there may well be sort of children's charities that could potentially assist with that. There's certainly not a specific pool of money within the FA for that, unfortunately. Okay,
and one final one from Mike Sayers. My understanding is that referees have not been yet appointed for this weekend's game. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, no, not quite. They have been appointed. You just won't know it yet. So the way the process is working is we're using a tool called Pitchside Refs, which is an administration tool, and everything is just slightly behind at the moment for a lot of things this season, let's be honest. David, who does the appointments, is still part-time furloughed, but he has done the appointments. But what he's doing is he's doing the appointments on Pitchside, waiting for the referees to confirm, and then adding them to full-time, so that you don't find yourself in a position where it might say me on a Monday and then it changes to Chris Brown on a Wednesday. So they are done. We are waiting the confirmations from the referees, which would have been happening over the past day or so. So you should see them all appear on full-time tomorrow, all being well. When we're moving forward from now on, we'll try and get that week ahead process so they'll go on full-time earlier in the week than they have this week.
Cool. Okay. Question from James Saunders. So, does the Matchday app facilitate parents with children in more than one team? Yes, it does. So, as long as the same parent is set up, they can change that in the teams menu on the right-hand side. They can just switch between each team, and they'll still receive notifications for the other team whilst they've switched. In the next Matchday update, you'll also be able to add a second parent. I believe that's coming. I'll give it 2 more minutes for questions, and then we are done. If anyone's got anything else, just please drop it in the comment box.
And we're bang on time, Chris. 2 minutes, and we've done the half an hour. Okay, I think that could be it. Right, the countdown, 10, 9, going. Oh, no.
Oh.
Thanks. Thanks, William. Okay, right, we'll let everybody else go back and do something more exciting then.
Yep, everyone, good luck for the weekend.
Okay, good luck. Yep. Like I say, any problems to let us know.
Yeah, and get used to all that sanitizer.
Yeah. Cheers, thank you.
Cheers then. Bye.
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 Bye.